Hey folks, Santee at the Arizona Ghostriders here. Photography in the Old West.
Photography? That's my cup of tea.
Roll the film. Photography has been around since the early 19th century when a fellow named Joseph Nicephore Niepce painstakingly found a way to capture an image using a chemical compound on various media. The process is way too complicated for me to put on here, so if you're interested in reading that history, I've put a link in the description field. Okay, let's fast forward to the methods used in the Old West, which is what this channel is about.
Well, it's about time.
Pre- and post-Civil War photos were customarily made with the wet plate collodion process. By the 1870s, the gelatin plate was quickly replacing it.
This is just stupid.
The collodion process has some medium differences. The ambrotype, which is a positive image on glass. The ferrotype.
Pass down my staff before Pharaoh.
No, not that Pharaoh. This was also known as a tintype, which is a positive image on metal, usually iron. Tin was in the name only because they were cheap to produce, like tin. The last one was the glass negative, which made positive prints on albumen paper. Now, having your picture taken back then was a big deal. If you were lucky enough to find a photographer out west, he'd be traveling or have a studio in a bigger town. Interesting to note that photographs had an impact on surveying parts of the frontier. Getting a bunch of copies of one photo could be expensive, providing the equipment to do so was there. Some photographers owned cameras with multiple lenses which would make more photos on the same plate. This famous tintype of Billy the Kid is one of 4 taken that day, but the whereabouts of the other portraits are unknown. Okay, Batjack, so we're gonna do an old-fashioned photo. So it's gonna be the old way they used to do it. So I'm gonna
Old way?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn your brim up like that. In many cowboy photos, their hats are tilted back on their heads or the brims are turned up. Since this was not really a practical way to wear the hat, we can surmise that the photographer did it to show more of their face and keep shadows to a minimum. And here's the thing, this process takes like 30 to 40 seconds, so you have to freeze.
Freeze?
Well, yeah,
Well, I didn't bring a jacket.
Exposure times of up to 30 seconds were required to properly capture the image. If you moved during that time, it would come out blurry. Stands with head stabilizers were placed against subjects to keep them still. Plate goes here. This plate goes there. Don't move. Will you hold still? I just told you to freeze. What are you doing?
Yeah, true.
Photographers would reuse studio props, which has caused a lot of controversy with historians. You see, in some cases, photos are the only proof of what the historic figure looked like. So, if guns and clothing were swapped out, that makes it kind of difficult to get pinpoint accuracy. Hey Jerry, listen, I bought an old tintype camera, thought I'd just mess around with it a little bit, took some pictures of Batjack, and since you were a photographer in the Navy, I was kind of hoping that you could take a look and maybe critique them? Sure. What do you think?
All right. Very interesting. The blur effect is kind of cool. They certainly look old-timey.
Wait, what blur effect?
Well, they're blurry, right?
Maybe you should put your glasses on.
Maybe you should put your glasses on. My glasses are on. These are blurry. I mean, if that's what you wanted, because a lot of pictures were blurry in those days, but they're certainly not sharp.
Okay, well, what can I do to make them better other than
Get a head clamp.
A
head clamp, because you could put Batjack in a head clamp and that'll hold him still.
I'm gonna put it in a head clamp.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? You could use a flash, like flash powder. They used to use flash powder in the old days.
Oh yeah.
So you could get some of that.
Okay.
And use flash powder.
Cool. Thanks.
Be careful, it's volatile.
Please, I'll be back.
All right.
There are still folks making tintypes today. Although it's a long process and uses very specialized equipment, you can find these folks at Civil War reenactments and some Old West events. Okay, Batjack, hold still. One day I plan to do an interview with one of these photographers so we can all learn the process together.
Hey, Santee.
Hey, Jerry. Got a good one here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's way better. Wow, that is sharp. Look at that.
Good, huh?
Yeah, good job. So how'd that flash powder work out then, huh?
Good stuff. Good stuff. I may have used a little much, but it's really good. Whew, hot in here. Yeah, it's good stuff.
need to sit down? We got a medical cabinet around the corner with some burn cream or something.
Oh, it's okay. Maybe a little burn
Yeah,
cream.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
feel free.
Thanks.
Well, folks, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on down the trail.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get mad at you.
All right.
I really appreciate you coming out and doing the photo thing. We'll see how it turns out, okay?
Sure.
No hard feelings? Good.
Good job, man.